So why do some Christians live with this sense of unshakable assurance, while others seem to, flounder in confusion, sin, or compromise? Why do some believers just radiate integrity, while others fall into patterns that honestly discredit their faith? It all comes down to one thing: who does God really know? I know that sounds a bit harsh, but it's a question the Apostle Paul takes head on in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 19. This verse isn't just a theological footnote. It's more like a flashing neon sign that forces us to wrestle with identity, obedience, and truth. So let's unpack this verse and peel away the assumptions and rebuild from the foundation of divine truth. And hey, if you'd like to assess your own spiritual growth while you're here, check out the spiritual growth quiz linked in the description. Here's the verse that pulls no punches. 2 Timothy 2:19. In the ESV says, "But God's firm foundation stands, bearing this seal. The Lord knows those who are his, and let everyone who names the name of the Lord depart from iniquity." This verse actually comes right in the middle of Paul warning Timothy about false teachers. Two men, Hymenaeus and Philetus, were spreading lies about the resurrection already having happened, and they were causing some believers to, fall apart spiritually. So, Paul responds with a double-edged truth. First, God knows who belongs to him. Second, those who belong to him must walk away from sin. This isn't just poetic, it's actually a spiritual diagnostic tool. Let's ask ourselves, what is undeniably true here, even if we strip away all layers of human interpretation? Principle number 1. God has a seal. The word seal implies two things: ownership and authenticity. This isn't a visible stamp, but a spiritual one. You could almost think of it as divine encryption. It's a mark of heaven's recognition. Principle number 2, not everyone who claims God is claimed by God. And yeah, this is the uncomfortable side. Some call on God's name, but haven't left their old life behind. The seal has two sides. God knows you, and you walk away from iniquity. Both sides really have to be present. One without the other, it's counterfeit. Paul is actually quoting Numbers 16, verse 5, during the rebellion of Korah. Korah challenged Moses' authority, saying basically everyone was holy, so why did Moses get to lead? Moses replies, "In the morning, the Lord will show who is his." This wasn't a debate Moses tried to win with persuasion. He just let God sort it out, and God did, by causing the ground to swallow the rebels. Ouch. Paul uses this reference to say, not every spiritual leader is legitimate. God knows, and he will show it. Let's borrow from the tech world for a moment. Warehouses use RFID tags, radio frequency identification, to track and identify items. Two identical boxes might look the same on the outside, but only one actually gets scanned into the system as authentic. God's seal is a lot like an RFID tag in the spiritual realm. Some people really look the part. Some people, they say all the right words. But only those with the spiritual RFID tag are recognized by heaven. Now, how do you know if you have that tag? Well, the tag broadcasts ownership and obedience. It's really about faith versus, okay, let's break it down. There are really two types of Christians. Type A, known by God. These folks walk in increasing righteousness. They actually depart from known sin. They don't try to justify rebellion. They're not perfect, but they're definitely progressing. And then there's Type B, known by religion. They claim Jesus, but honestly, they cling to sin. They attend church, sure, but sometimes they manipulate grace. They say, only God can judge me, but live like he never will. So, which one are you becoming? Let's talk about how all of this points to Jesus. First, Jesus is the foundation. Remember, for no one can lay a foundation other than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. That's from 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 11. Jesus isn't just a religious system. He's the bedrock. Second, Jesus knows his own. He says, I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. That's John chapter 10, verse 14. Jesus' knowledge of you isn't just intellectual, it's relational. You're not just in his files, you're in his flock. And third, Jesus calls you to depart from iniquity. Jesus gave himself for us to redeem us from all lawlessness. That's from Titus chapter 2, verse 14. He didn't just die for your sin. He died to pull you out of it. You may not be known on Instagram. You may not be known in your church. And honestly, you may not even be understood by your friends or family. But if God knows you, you are sealed, secure, and set apart. Let that, really sink in. First, audit your life for fruit, not just feelings. We love to talk about how we feel spiritually, but Paul challenges us to look at how we live spiritually. So, ask yourself, am I actively walking away from sin? Do my habits match my confession? Would my life scan as belonging to God? This isn't legalism, it's alignment. Second, anchor your confidence in God's ownership. The world is filled with fake faith, confusing messages, and spiritual imposters. But if God knows you, that changes everything. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. You just need to remain in his name and walk away from what he's delivered you from. When you're shaken, remember, God's seal stands. 2 Timothy 2:19 doesn't invite debate. It draws a line. Are you known by God, or are you, posing as someone you're not willing to become? The good news? That can change right now. If you will turn from sin, trust in Christ, and walk in the newness of life, you won't just claim God, you'll be claimed by him. Want to see how you're growing spiritually? Take our quick spiritual growth quiz and get insights tailored to your walk with God. Don't just profess the name, bear the seal.